6 o'clock, call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge, also the prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Ray, a little prayer, please.
Loving Father, we come before you asking for respect and open-mindedness among all participants in this meeting. Help us to value one another's opinions and to listen attentively. May we engage in healthy discussions and foster understanding and cooperation. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, ma'am. Cool. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Chief Hernandez.
Here.
James Sheremy.
Here.
Harley Stelly.
Here.
Lauren Gonzalez. Brian Bartholomew. Michael Ciano.
Okay, we have a full quorum, and look like we got a full. Looking at the people, it's unbelievable. So we got a good crowd tonight. We got three major things on. It's a special meeting. Like I said, we got three different things to discuss. So let's go ahead and start, Madam Clerk.
Item 1, discussion and possible action by the Town Council on the award of a curbside residential and business solid waste material collection pursuant to the Town of Grand Isle's request for proposals.
Okay. All right. Want to start off with the discussion on the garbage?
Going over the proposals, they come back. One thing I asked before the proposals went out, I committed, I would not vote for anything that raises the garbage rates. I'm happy to say that we do have a proposal that lowers the rates for people in Grand Island, the garbage pickup.
Okay. Chip, you like to?
I'll review both of them, and I'm certainly aware that one of the proposals is for a significant amount of work, less than the other, and it's also with someone who I feel is proven to the community, and we know what kind of work we do. We have the amount of problems here that I've seen in other places. And the fact that it's a lower rate is a miracle, because this stuff is going up every day. And that's not going to change. Somebody new came in, I would be real worried about what would happen, not with this contract, but with the one that follows it, most of all.
Okay, any questions from the public? Any questions for the board?
Are they negotiating tonight?
Yes, that's what he just talked about.
Wait,
Are the two bidders negotiating their pricing, or this is the set pricing?
that's their proposal.
Has it been clarified on one bid where the unit amount represented the total for all of the units? Has that been clarified?
My first clarification, I apologize, but it's not a bid.
It's
It's a
proposal.
proposal, and I think that, we're satisfied after speaking to the company that, that amount is correct, and it represents the same figure that's in the other proposal.
So the $19,028.33 is for, is the total monthly amount for 157 units at
Yes.
$121.20 each.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's
That's, as long as everybody understands that to be correct.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions from the board? Any questions for the public? Okay, so you recommend to go,
No, absolutely,
okay, so you saying Pelican?
yeah.
Okay.
Wait.
Uh-huh,
I just wanted to,
yes, ma'am.
Jolene Johnson with Waste Pro. I just wanted to clarify, on the bid when it was, on the proposal when it was read out, on the form where it states per unit per month, Pelican's bid was $19,028.33, which equates to $2.987 million per month. That's what it stated, and that's what they submitted, correct?
He clarified the pricing afterwards per unit.
So he
It's a-
changed the number?
No, did not change the number. That is the total price per month for the 157 units. It is a proposal, so he is able to clarify himself afterwards.
So he was allowed to clarify, correct?
In any proposal, you're
Okay.
allowed to clarify.
And we would have been allowed the same,
Is that
Oh,
correct?
absolutely, yeah.
We would have been
And
allowed the
you'd have had
same.
that same
but we're not.
privilege.
Thank you. Just wanted-
Thank you so much. Okay, we need a motion to go ahead and, with Pelican,
I make a motion that we vote on accepting the recommendation of the town attorney and going with Pelican Waste for our garbage disposal.
we have a motion by James, we have a second? Second by Brian. All in favor, signify.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Nay.
Number 2, Jefferson Parish fire hydrant conditions, maintenance, and next steps.
All right, last meeting, there was, they wanted to get an update on our hydrant. Since then, I reached out to the parish, and myself
They
and
can't,
James has
they
been,
can't hear you.
I can't.
myself and James has been in touch with the parish, and we both received an update as of Tuesday at 8 o'clock. The parish stated we have began evaluating all 5 hydrants on the list. 58 hydrants have been inspected, 6 have been repaired as of today. 51 hydrants caps will be ordered this week, and the remaining requesting hydrants for replacement will be sent to our contractor for replacement. Only a few need to be replaced. That was on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Today, I reached out to Mr. Timmy Kerner's office again, and he texted me back right before the meeting that there was no update since then, that all material was ordered and waiting on parts and materials. So that's where we at on our hydrants.
Any questions? Anybody from the board?
No, I think that's what we all asked for, is,
Yeah, exactly.
thank you, Councilman Baldwin.
Thank you.
We've been asking for transparency. Last meeting, you gave us transparency when you mentioned the failed fire hydrants. And in the meantime, you've taken action to get them fixed.
Thank you.
That's what we asked for. That's what we like to see. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank
And,
you.
covering that up, Brian, I know Timmy's been in charge.
Yes.
In touch with us all the time.
And I will try to get another update
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah, because Timmy really went out the way for that, Okay? Yes, sir. Come on.
I'm not sure the number, you asked me how many total are out. I'm not sure exact how many were out. The list was turned over by the fire chief to the parish, and that was the response we received from the list.
Yeah, I mean, people are just wondering if the one on their street is out.
I can't answer that right now. I mean, if you want, you can put a request into the fire department, and they'll be gladly to give you a copy of what they sent. At this time, I don't have it with me.
So there's no way to like mark the ones that aren't working and the ones that are working?
Well, I think they fixed the 6 that wasn't working, so as of right now, they fixed them 6 that wasn't working, we good. But we still got some other ones that, it's not completely out, but we're having issues with some of the hydrants with the caps and stuff like that, but it's not that they out and we won't be able to service them. As of today, I think we had maybe one more they were concerned about, but it was on Sandy Lane, but we have a hydrant right next to it, not far down, and we have plenty of holes to reach to it, so it won't be an issue with fire safety. All right,
Thank you. Anyone else? Good job, Brian.
thank you.
Thank the fire department.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Number
Okay.
3, discussion on the application of Crescent Midstream LLC. Applicant requests approval from the Department of Conservation and Energy to construct and operate a commercial Class 2 injection well disposal facility for disposal of exploration and production waste fluids located on Grand Isle. I do have 2 requests to speak. So right now, I'm going to call up Eric Lyons regarding the Crescent permit.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Perfect. Yeah, good evening, council members. I should turn this a little bit. I want to address everyone as much as possible. Fellow residents of Grand Isle, everyone here tonight. My name is Eric Lyons. I'm a senior vice president for Crescent Midstream. I'm proud to say that I live in South Louisiana myself. I grew up in Berg, not far from here. We have many members from our team that also are all Louisiana, reside in Louisiana, families Louisiana. We come to the beautiful beaches down here. Families have camps. We rent camps, fish the waters, and call this place home as well. I do want to apologize. I was not present on the meeting Tuesday. We viewed this as a straightforward reclassification for our facility. The existing saltwater disposal wells, so existing 3 wells, these are existing. No changes to operations are occurring. That means no changes, no new wells are being drilled. So I want to be clear there. 3 wells are there. They've been there. No new wells are being drilled. That said, we honestly did not anticipate the significant community concerns, and we were wrong for that. We have heard your voices loud and clear, and we want to listen to you and answer your questions. That said, we want to make sure moving forward, we are transparent as well as everyone understands what's truly going to be occurring at our facility. To be clear, Crescent Midstream is applying for a commercial Class 2 permit for wells that have already existed since 1991. The facility has been operated since the 1970s, and Crescent has been a part of this community since 2021. This reclassification is required so we can continue our existing operations that has been going on since 1991. These wells have been safely disposing of produced salt water for decades, nothing more. And again, let me emphasize that this is salt water. This is not industrial chemical waste. This is not, we've even heard today that somebody said it was coming in from Venezuela, some corrupt, chemical waste from Venezuela. That is not the case. This is not sewage. This is not hazardous materials. This is not any other non-oil field fluids. This is salt water. What goes into these wells is produced formation water, naturally occurring salt water that comes up with the oil and gas. Crescent follows strict state guidelines and parameters that we have to comply by to put these fluids down hole. These wells inject at depths of 3,000 to 6,000 feet below the surface. These injection wells are sealed underground formations. They are constructed with multiple layers of steel as well as cement. They're engineered barriers designed to prevent any mitigation of fluids. Again, as I mentioned before, there's extensive regulatory requirements that we have to undergo with integrity testing, monitoring, area of review evaluations to confirm that these wells do not and cannot make any ecosystem, fishery, or any other underground source of drinking water impact. In this geological setting in Grand Isle, there is no usable drinking water aquifers. Even that said, we still want to protect this area as we're all from here. We understand the importance of Grand Isle, your homes, your livelihoods tied to Grand Isle, the Gulf, the marsh, the tourism. We share this connection as locals. Again, I'm not far down the road, and we've all been down here camping and fishing many times. Our goal is to continue operating responsibly, safely, and in full compliance with the state and federal rules that protect us in unique coastal environment. Again, we are happy to provide more details, answer questions, or discuss anything that you may be of concern. Thank you for this time, for allowing us to address hopefully your questions. And again, I do apologize I wasn't here Tuesday. We are here tonight, and hopefully we can clear things up. Thank y'all.
Yes, and I appreciate you, but, we had the meeting the other night, and like I said, nobody was here.
Yes, sir.
And, our residents are concerned, our business people, our tourists coming in, and, we just, how you were questioned, you had 6 of us, I think, in there at the time, and what I'm saying, you questioned it, but they couldn't give us an answer. And there's something wrong with that, where it's to represent the people in this town, and, get a little leery, I mean, you got, we talked about the oysters on the side, but they couldn't give us no information at all, so we just look at it. We need somebody to come and testify in front of our people and tell us what's going on.
Yeah, and I take responsibility of that. Again, for us, the wells have been there.
Yeah.
So we've been operating the wells since 2021, and they've been operating since 91.
Well,
And I understand that, and we should have been open with that. And from my side, we knew that, but the community didn't know that.
Exactly,
But
And I take blame on that.
But I recognize 2 people in here that were at that meeting, so why couldn't they step up and explain to it when we had questions? You said nobody was there, but I can recognize 2 people that were in there.
Yeah, Mr. Will was here, but he's brand new to our company, so he's learning the assets. This was more for him getting out and understanding what was going on.
How long did y'all have this meeting planned for?
Which meeting?
The one from Tuesday?
The hearing, it's been planned for a good while.
A good while. How did the town not know if it's been a good while? You can't just come to the multiplex.
Yeah, so I can let Mr. Carroll speak on that, but I'll give you what I know. So we basically have applied for the processes and procedures through LADEQ. From that, we applied to 3 different letterheads or magazines that go out. And I think that's where the confusion came into play, is where Grand Isle sits as far as Jefferson Parish, and then understanding the Times-Picayune, I believe, is a Jefferson Parish, versus the Lafourche Gazette. And that's where the confusion came in, where I know, Mr. Carroll came in and questioned all of the different sources, where eventually we chose Jefferson because of the residing parish. We did speak to the Lafourche Gazette, but there wasn't a true page that held legal documents on the Lafourche Gazette. And we didn't fully understand that the Lafourche Gazette came down to Grand Isle. This was not something that we were trying to hide or displace. This was just a true process of trying to understand what was the best to get out there. And the same thing as the library. We have it documented where we brought it to the library and it was there. Beyond that, that was the normal processes and procedures, and that's what we did. Beyond not putting in the Lafourche Gazette, it was followed, but we do apologize it not being in that one.
James?
My question is, this is one binder of two, which is your application
Yes.
for the wells.
Yes, sir.
I was going through one, and I noticed the wells were drilled back in 72. So that's 19 years prior to 91. On here, there's also shown where there were problems with the wells, the current wells that you have now. The reason they were taken offline, because they were leaking. Can you address that?
So I will, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty positive Mr. Carroll wrote the permitting. Do you speak on as far as the timing of the wells? They were 91. Yeah, we'll have to look back, but it was in 1991 for the. That's correct. The facility itself was open prior in the 70s, but the wells were in 91.
Prior to 91, they just dumped it straight in the fall.
Yeah.
In 91, there were more stringent regulations when they started putting it down wells.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And
And
I'm sorry.
no, sir, just to your comment, we are putting the full permit. If it doesn't have the other copy, that will be accessible, and I'll get with Mr. David to make sure everybody has access for that.
Okay, because I have until February 3 to go through both of these binders and ask any questions that I may have.
Yes, sir.
So I'll be pretty busy the next couple of weeks
Yes, sir.
doing that. Yes, sir.
If I'm not mistaken, we put these out in the library as well as in Gretna at the Jefferson Parish Council. We combined both of those two binders into one so that we wouldn't have too much.
The copy I have is binder 1 of 2, and what I was looking for was the environmental impact study, and that's in section X, which is in binder 2.
So it's not, there's nothing in, X is not included in that?
Correct. This goes through F. This stops at section F.
Yeah, I was going to ask, where did you get your binder from? Was
Well,
that-
like you said, it's public, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, and I just want to make sure that we provide what's needed. That's all
Yeah,
I'm asking.
but I feel quite confident this is the correct binder.
Okay.
Okay, that's not a problem. It has in it all the seismic work that was done.
Yes, sir.
It also has the leaks and the pressures that it was under. And, you know, that's, when you say you're not going to re-drill,
No, sir.
or you're going to work over, or what, I guess, what are you going to do to ensure that these wells won't leak and are safe for the next 100 years?
Yeah, so there's periodic testing that's done, and I don't have it directly in front of me, but the state comes out, and we do for sure annual testing with the state. We do also have sampling that has to be sent in and make sure for pretty much every batch that goes down. So sampling is taken, and there's a strict guideline of exactly what can and cannot be sent down. So that is followed, as well as there are some other integrity tests. Again, frequency, I would have to look back, but there's other integrity tests that have to be done to maintain that.
Now, I'm not saying that this is bad for Grand Isle.
Understood.
In fact, the mayor and the council's been working for a long time to get oil industry back on Grand Isle.
Understood.
We welcome it, we encourage it, we need it to come back. That being said, this island has suffered a lot of problems as a result of chemicals being dispersed.
Understood.
Anytime a resident of Grand Isle hears waste, they think, oh my God, who's going to get cancer next?
Right.
So I don't have any impact studies. I don't have, when it calls for all waste from oil field exploration and production. There's a lot of chemicals that falls under that category, not just salt water and mud.
Sure.
And that's one of the questions I would feel comfortable asking. And like you say, this water has been going in there since 1991. So that's what, 35 years. It may well be safe, and there's no problems to continue doing so. All we ask is transparency, openness, tell us what's going on and what we're being subjected to.
Absolutely. And we don't have an issue with that. Anything you would like to know, we're fine with that. Again, we have the parameters that we have to test to as far as before it goes downhole. And then also the materials that we do receive, it also has to meet certain guidelines to come in before processing. And then once you process, then the procedure as far as testing before going downhole.
And what is an acceptable level of benzene?
We do have the levels for benzene, toluene, all of that we have to abide by. As far as offhand, I would have to look it up.
But in other words, each time you get a shipment in that you inject to the well, you test, make
Yes,
sure
sir.
they're within the
Yes, sir.
guidelines and tolerance?
Yes, sir,
And
that's
you
correct.
publish your tests, or is that just kept in-house?
We have to send them off to the state, and then we keep an actual physical record.
Okay.
Yeah, that has to, for every single batch that goes downhole, it has to be tested and documented.
All righty.
Yes, sir.
And again, going back to the reasons why the wells were, in here, at one point it referred to capped. Were they capped?
To my knowledge, no, and as far as you talking about the wells, I would have to look back, and Mr. Carroll and Mr. Doyle, I don't know if y'all recall specifically, I don't recall the wells being ever capped.
We may be referring to, those wells have been tested 5 times in the last 2 years by the state agency. What we may be referring to is the last time or next to last time when they came, the state determined that the facility was a different operation than was originally approved through the Exxon and other operators that had those wells. And they shut them down until they received a permit to operate as a commercial operation.
So cap was used to include shut down or shut in?
But they physically weren't, right?
Right, okay.
Because
They
of-
cemented in.
Yes, sir, because if Exxon being the big conglomerate, they had the offshore fields plus the facility, so they had everything combined, but Crescent took over when Cox was down here, Energy, EPL, et cetera. So the offshore division was different than the facility. So for the state, it qualified the well as a different classification. Even though the operation was the same, it needed to be a Class 2 well versus, what was it, a 6? A commercial well, yes, sir. Non-commercial to commercial. So it just changed the classification because of the operations, as far as operators were different.
Okay. But the the waste
Yes, sir.
itself has not changed,
No, sir.
correct?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, and I would just like to take my time, go through this.
Yes, sir.
All of the, from what I understand now, the hearing is closed for verbal questions. Any and all questions have to be done in written form, either through a letter or email. And
Is that the correct statement?
yeah, and we have until February 3rd, at 4:30 PM to register these questions.
That is correct at this point in time, but we understand that the agency may be extending that even further. We don't know that for a fact
Yeah, we-
yet, but it's a possibility.
Yes, we've spoken with the agencies, and due to obviously the community questions, that may be extended to make sure that everybody has their time to get everything in.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much because a lot of our residents, they will not have a problem coming up and asking the question.
Sure.
Right.
But they would be leery about putting some on paper and sending that off and expecting maybe never to get heard, never to be responded. And then they would take that personal. So if there was an opportunity, again, where the town could come and voice their concerns and make their comments that they have. But at the end of the day, it's all about the long-term health of our residents here. And anything that the company could do to assure us that we're not putting ourselves in harm's way would be greatly appreciated.
And yeah, to reiterate that, we resonate with that. We really do. Our company is very strong for safety and environment. Again, our company is 100% Louisiana. That all our pipes are in the Gulf of Mexico, Grand Isle, Empire, Middle Louisiana. So everyone resides here. So we absolutely resonate with that comment.
Then the only thing I'd like clarification on at this point is, once you're given your license to continue doing the work, will you be reworking or addressing the leakage?
As far as the wells,
Yes.
the wells don't have a leak. And that's one of the things I'll have to look back on, is to see if that was the 3 saltwater wells that we have there.
Right.
Yeah. Currently, there's no leak for the 3 saltwater wells.
Okay. Perhaps I read something wrong, but it's my understanding Exxon's discontinued using them because of maintenance.
Understood.
And we have annulus pressure of 440, regular pressure 240 PSI.
Yeah, the state comes in and checks on that. So everything as far as the wells are operating correctly. Prior to our time here with Exxon, that very could have possibly happened. I would have to look back to see if that indeed happened, though. But with
So-
our time here, the wells are performing.
So when were these last used as injection wells?
The wells have been operating since we took over in '21. There was a brief period with the permit transition that we weren't able to operate, and then we came back online.
Where can we find the maintenance history on it, on these wells?
The maintenance history, do we include that into the permit?
No.
Yes.
And could I also get the environmental impact study that was required for this?
Yeah, that
Is-
should also be in there.
Information in the application is not called an environmental impact study, but there is information in there that goes through the same type information. Now, I'd like to see
Right.
what you have up there,
Okay, what,
just so to make sure you've got.
Yeah,
Okay.
we want to make sure you have everything that's needed.
let me ask you, what you're talking about is the environmental organizational report? Is that what it's called? Yes,
Yep.
please do.
Mr. Carroll helped put the permit together, so that's why I keep kind of help asking him.
While you're looking at that, how many times
It's right here on the X.
constant daily, or is it something that builds up in the tanks, then y'all transfer it from the tanks?
Yeah, that's actually, you pretty much hit it dead on. It depends on the fluids that we do receive. If we do receive a large amount of fluids at one time, we'll continue batching to the saltwater wells, or if it takes a period of a couple days to get a sizable one to put down.
And this is the same process, bring a boat in, transfer the salt water to the boat has a permit to go offshore.
That was prior with Exxon. We've never used a barge or anything. That's correct, yes. Yeah, they would bring it offshore and then dump it offshore. Yeah,
Does anybody still use that process today, or
not Crescent, no, sir.
not Crescent, but other people do use that?
To my knowledge, you do have some producers that process on land and then they pipe it back offshore
Okay.
and then overboard offshore, like many of the platforms do.
Because I believe they still do it with vessels. I think they
Yes.
put it on vessels and bring it
That's-
offshore so many miles, and it's just produce salt water.
That's
And
100%
y'all just
correct.
going the extra mile by putting it in the ground where it's not out in the water.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So let's, just to make sure that there's understanding as far as the wells being reworked, the comment on that is that all they're doing is reperforating the wells so that it opens up so it could drink the water. So, but as far as the well not being functional or it needs repair, that's a different category, right? So I want to make sure we're in 2 categories. One being that, hey, the well has an issue, it needs maintenance, it needs a repair, we have to fix it, versus being reworked, all it does is pull the sand and sediment out of the perforations to allow the water to penetrate. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Out of all the locations, why here in Grand Isle? Like, why directly behind us in our own backyard? Out of everywhere else, why here?
Yeah, so we actually bought the asset back in 2021. We did some trading as far as some of our California assets, and our Grand Isle asset lined up perfectly with our Bonefish asset, which the pipeline extends off of the Grand Isle asset. So the neighboring facility off of the terminal is what we call our Bonefish asset, which sits side by side. So it absolutely worked for our company to have the asset. And then clearly at that point, it came with the 3 saltwater wells. Back then it was Cox. And Cox was doing the producing of water and crude. So at that point, Crescent was handling the separation of the water and crude and then putting the saltwater downhole.
And I know
Hopefully
you
that
said,
answers your question.
it won't affect our drinking water, but just based on our tourism with our charter fishermen's, our trawlers, and just our sportsmen's fishing, if there was become a leakage, like, is there, I guess it would be an environmental studies, but how can that affect our sportsmen and the livelihoods of the trawlers and charter fishermen's?
Yeah, no, great question. Definitely would have to look at the study itself, but I mean, just as a random comment, everyone fishes in South Louisiana. If you ever go to a platform, a lot of platforms are doing the same process we're doing, but they're putting it down right where you're fishing. So that salt water that they're overboarding is literally going right off the platform. At least in federal water. You can't do it in state water. It's got to be in federal. So 3 miles out.
You know, that's some of the questions we tried asking the other night. And,
Understood.
That's why, you know, we talked about the fishermen and, you know,
Yeah.
sports.
And look, I do apologize. I want to be transparent. We just were trying to understand for our side. We didn't think it was going to be, you know, so much questions. And again, I do apologize.
I would like to see, can the public ask questions if there's any
Absolutely.
questions for them?
Yes, absolutely.
Would
Yeah,
anybody
I'll-
from the public
I'll
like to
take a
stand
seat.
up and ask questions?
Okay.
Another speaker request. I have Keith Bergeron.
Yes, okay. James. James, he's gonna, if people starting to talk, if you don't wanna listen a little bit. All right. We got 1,000 more pages.
Yeah, my biggest question was exactly what Harley just asked, why Grand Isle?
Right.
You know, if it's salt water, you claim it's salt water, why you just don't dump it out in the Gulf? And avoid pumping stuff in our ground. At 3,000 feet, that's not even a mile. This is nothing but porous ground here, sand and rock. So there is a chance of anything coming up. And I got word today from an Exxon employee
He takes it to me, that's right.
that said those wells were leaking. They were shut down because they were leaking. Now, this is a man that worked there. I don't get it. Why Grand Isle? If it's salt water, where did it come from? Where did it come from? What you use it for? Because if anything, it's to displace drilling mud from a production well. So if you're displacing the drilling mud, it came in contact with the drilling mud that was drilling the hole. And it could be contaminated with caustic, lignite, all the chemicals they use in the drilling mud. Radioactive, metals. You ain't getting all of that out of there. So if it's just fresh, clean salt water, put it in the Gulf like the other rigs are doing. Can you answer that?
Yeah, again, and I think Mr. James had a similar comment, and we do resonate with you. Again, it's just, as a business opportunity, you know, clearly the asset butted up to our other asset to make a good, you know, business acquisition. But again, as far as Crescent's concerned, the existing saltwater wells were there for the existing asset. So the existing asset plays into the saltwater wells. So to do kind of what you're talking about would be probably, in my eyes, more harm and damage into Grand Isle, where I would have to then lay a pipeline out of Grand Isle Beach, cut through all the sand, and then be at least 3 miles out into the federal water to be able to discharge. So I absolutely resonate with you and hear you, but I believe our background and understanding of this, we are keeping this safe. As far as the Exxon stuff, not saying they couldn't have had a potential issue. I'm sure they fixed it. At some point, when we previously took it over, we did have to put a new casing in it as some maintenance. Those things do happen, but that doesn't mean that for maintenance, yeah. That doesn't mean it's leaking. That doesn't, out the foundation itself, it doesn't mean it's leaking. The salt water that was previously used for was probably pushed from the actual reservoir out with the crude. So they used the crude, or likely they would use the salt water to displace the crude.
The crude,
Yes,
that's oil,
yes.
so it's contaminated.
You're having the crude and oil separated at the facility.
100%.
That's where the testing comes into place. Yes.
And you're gonna test it before it's injected in the ground?
Yes, sir, we do. Yep. We have spot samples for every single batch that's sent into the state, as well as we have to have a physical sample on site.
Excuse me, Ms. Lyons, would you know the acceptable parts per million of crude?
I can get everything for you. I don't have it on the top of my head, but we do have a guideline of everything that can't be, it cannot be over so much ppm. Yes, sir.
So 3,000 feet. There's 5,280 feet in a mile. We all know that. So you're not even a mile in the ground. Or you're dispersing this into the ground.
But this,
Up to 6,000 feet, you said a while ago.
they range, the wells do range. Yes.
So that's not deep.
But these are formations. They're not just free load grounds where the formations, yeah.
I worked on a drilling rig.
Understood.
We never hit nothing hard until you got to almost 10,000 feet. It's pea gravel, sand, mud.
Mm-hmm.
It's never hard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's porous.
Understood.
You drill it, you zip and drill pipe in the ground.
Yeah, and we have the reservoir reports too in the,
There's no shale. I know that.
Okay?
I want to address just a couple things that were just mentioned in that comment. The salt water is separated from the oil or the gas when the wells are produced. The state requires that salt water to be injected back into formations similar to the formations from which it came. The Department of Environmental Quality discontinued discharge of that salt water into the Gulf around the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. That's why Exxon permitted 1 well, 2 wells, 3 wells to inject that water. At that point in time, from my research, Exxon was getting rid of lots of salt water because they were producing a lot of oil and gas. They used those wells to inject into the ground. They received permits from the Office of Conservation at the time to inject that water into the subsurface. The 3 wells are completed in 3 different formations because you don't want to inject 3 wells that have close proximity into the same formation. That just doesn't work. So the 1 well is injecting at 3,800 to 4,000 feet. Another well is injecting 4,500 to 4,700 feet. The 3rd well is injecting 5,700 feet to 5,900 feet below the surface. I worked for the Office of Conservation for many years, and when we permitted these injection wells, we would make sure that the strata was such that there would be no upward migration of the waste injected. That's why they're injected at such depths. South Louisiana is an ideal place to put an injection well because the subsurface, to agree with the commenter, is not hard rock. It's more soft because it hasn't been laid down years ago like up in North Louisiana. That's North Louisiana is a hard place to find a location and a subsurface formation to inject into because it's more hard rock than in South Louisiana. That's why Exxon picked these formations. I looked at the last two, just to speak to the whether the wells are leaking or not. I went back the last 2 years to see how many well tests have been performed by the state, which were 5. They inspected them 11 times. 6 times were just an inspection to make sure paperwork was correct. 5 more times they tested the well to make sure it had integrity. And on the integrity point, everybody's been to McDonald's and everybody's gotten a Coke. Well, picture an injection well just like that Coke. You got the cup, which is the casing in an injection well. You got the cap on top of the cup, which is like the packer, wellhead on that injection well. The bottom of the cup is like the packer in the hole, which holds the straw, which is the casing that's injected through the tubing to inject the waste into the subsurface. Inside that cup, you've got ice and Coke, right? In an injection well, all those parts are sealed. The company is required, and this has been that way forever, to keep a pressure, a minimum pressure on that Coke and ice, on that annular, what's called an annular space. And as long as that annular space maintains the pressure that it's supposed to maintain, you know your well has integrity. There's no leakage. There's nothing going out at 100 feet or 5,000 feet. It's going into the formation where it was intended to go. If you get a leak in your cup, where does your Coke go? It gets all over you. If your cap falls off, you get leakage at the top. If something happened at the bottom, if you punch that straw through the bottom of your cup, you should have a seal in an injection well. That's a similar type of situation or example of how that well is constructed. The casing is cemented. The surface casing, also when they put these wells into operation or when they construct them, they have to put in a surface casing and a conductor pipe up at the surface. Now, wells that are drilled in areas where you have drinking water, where you're actually pumping the water out and drinking it, they take real great precautions to make sure that drinking water is protected. Well, even here in Grand Isle, they were required, and I got that information for you. The surface casing on one well is 2,000 feet. Surface casing on another well is 1,995 feet, and on the another well is 2,003 feet. So if you got a surface casing cemented to the surface, down well below the surface sands and surface waters here on Grand Isle, then you've got another string of casing set down below the injection intervals, which is 6,000 feet, 4,700 feet, and 4,000 feet. That casing is cemented to the surface. That is why the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency required states to put in injection well regulations to protect drinking water all across the United States. I was lucky enough to get involved in injection wells in 1981 when EPA required every state to have their own UIC program, underground injection control, to protect drinking water. Now, I use the term drinking water, but actually what the EPA required the state to protect was, they called it an underground source of drinking water, USDW. A USDW is identified as 10,000 milligrams per liter total dissolved solids. You can't drink 10,000, almost pure salt water. You can only drink maybe 250 milligrams per liter, correct? Y'all are getting y'all's water piped in from north of the parish, and that water, I understand, if I'm not wrong, is actually Mississippi River water that's been cleaned up. That's not even groundwater. If I'm not correct in that point?
Yes.
I think so. So what we've got 3 injection wells here that are constructed with equipment to protect down to 10,000 milligrams per liter which more than protects your drinking water if you had drinking water to protect. Now, the thing here that you're also concerned about is what about surface? Anything going to happen on the surface and all? That's why you have the well is monitored continuously. This company has equipment in a control room, and they can see on a graph at all times the pressure on the annulus, the pressure of the water going down into the well, the pressures in their pipeline, and they know, if the operator is paying attention, and they are, they know if that goes off. If that well, if the ice and the Coke start leaking out of that cup, out of that well, they're required to contact the state and tell them, hey, we got a problem, we're shutting the well in, and we're going to get a permit, and we're going to repair the well. The comment here of the gentleman about, well, you had to repair the well. Well, that's correct. If there's a mechanical integrity problem, they're required to shut the well in, report it to the state, call a workover company to come out, take the well apart, find out, is it the tubing that's leaking? Is it the straw? Is it the Coke cup that's leaking, the casing? Is it the packer, the bottom of the cup? Or is it the wellhead, which is the top of the cup? Which one of those components is leaking? They order a new packer, get a new packer, order a wellhead or repair the wellhead as necessary. If the tubing is bad, they replace the tubing, put the well back together. The inspector pressure test, watches them pressure test the well and make sure it's back in compliance, and only then can they allow the well to go back into operation. So if, in fact, there was a leak somewhere in the past, and Doyle Johnson helped us put that application together, and every one of those workovers that were ever performed on those wells is in that application right there. You can go back and look. If there was a problem somewhere along the line, it'll be documented in those well histories. Form WH1. And also, to your point, so that everybody else knows, I was up here speaking with Mr. Sheremy. That document right there is the entire document. When we turned it into the state, it was in 2 binders. Binder 1 was A through Z. Section F was pulled out because Section F was specific to how the wells were constructed, how they're operated, specific to the wells. When you turn an application like this into the state, the part that I used to work for, Injection and Mining Division, which is no longer the Injection and Mining Division, they wanted to see the well information. The other part of the agency, they regulated the facility. They wanted to see everything related to the facility. So what we did, Volume 1 was A through Z minus F, which is the wells. Volume 2 was Section F by itself. It was that thick. That went to Injection and Mining. The other part went to the other agency that looked at the facility. Now, since this was an existing facility, it really made it rather easy to go through and document because it had been there for years. The wells, that was easy also. Everything on file, that's been on file since 1991, is in that application.
There are 72 in some.
Yes, sir. In fact, there are geologic cross-sections in there that we had to prepare to document that there was confining zones to prevent injected fluid from coming back up to the surface. To address one more comment about drilling mud and all, the only thing that this facility will be allowed to accept and to dispose of is liquid E&P fluids. Now there's rainwater, that's an E&P waste, some other salt water, there are other things that can be injected. They don't want drilling mud, they can't inject drilling mud, it'll plug up their well. They don't want any solids, that'll plug up their well. The only thing they will take are liquids. And those liquids will be filtered, because you can't put dirty water down an injection well, and you can plug the thing up, and you don't want to do that. So there's a lot of things involved. I was impressed when I was looking at this, and I think Doyle can agree with me. These 3 wells have been in operation since 1991, and they're still injecting and doing a good job of disposing of the fluids that they were drilled for by Exxon in the first place. So I think they could operate for probably another 25 years, if not more, as long as they're operated correctly, the water is filtered and put into the formations. So in short, we think it's a good application. We think they're operating properly in accordance with the regulations, and we'll continue to do so.
How many injection wells besides the 3 y'all have that are in South Louisiana of other companies? Would y'all know that answer?
I can get it for you. It's thousands. It's
In the South
thousands.
Louisiana area?
From Plaquemine Parish to Calcasieu Parish, there's thousands.
Okay.
What's the funding on this?
So, ma'am?
The funding on this? Is there funding, is it through the town? Is it the insurance?
Oh, the state requires the operator to maintain insurance, environmental insurance, in case something does happen. Spills, accidents do happen, spills do happen. The state, I just was showing Mr. Sheremy here, the state requires them to provide a closure plan and cost estimate, which Mr. Doyle Johnson prepared back here, which that's an amount that they have to put on file with conservation to plug the wells. And if I'm not mistaken, the bonds, the letters of credit, the bonds.
We have that bonds for all 3 wells as well.
How much was it, Doyle?
It was over 300,000.
For each well? Yeah, I think that was for each well,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
For each well, it's about 110.
Okay. I'm thinking the facility and everything, because the closure plan not only covers the wells, it covers the facility. So and as a regulator, a former regulator, I used to worry about this. What if XYZ operator decides, we're not making any money, we're going to Canada, and leaves the facility with nobody responsible around? That's why we implemented the closure plan and cost estimate to get these companies to give a decent estimate for close. I think the facility is $1 million or over $1 million to close out. And that money is put on file with the state in case they do go to Canada. That money can be cashed in and something can be done to close out the wells and the site. So you won't be, the Grand Isle and the state won't be left high and dry. No, won't be. That won't happen.
So Grand Isle would be receiving money off of this?
I think the only money that Grand Isle would receive would be through taxes that these industries have to pay. Down on that end of the island, I've been there to their facility. It seemed like there are other companies in that area. I'm not sure what y'all's tax base is or how do y'all work that, but I'm sure there's some kind of tax.
Let me ask you, one of the challenges we face on the town of Grand Isle is our number of residents. How many people do you employ on Grand Isle? Do you know?
I can't answer that.
Specifically on Grand Isle, none, but Lockport, and a very, very close area, but not on Grand Isle.
Yeah. See, that's a big challenge that we're facing as a town. We need to have people living on the island, residents, and we need to do whatever we can to encourage that. As corporate partners or corporate citizens of Grand Isle, can you guys come up with any idea how to help us with that?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look, we do have growth plans. Clearly, that doesn't happen tomorrow, but
Right.
over time, if things come up, there's potentials out there, absolutely, where we can go talk to Mr. David.
Yes.
Or whoever on the council, that's certainly things we can do. Whenever we bought this asset, just to be clear, 21, the asset came with personnel. So the personnel really just transferred over and the asset continued operating, right? But now, as far as growth opportunities, things that may come about that's still in the Grand Isle area, absolutely.
That'd be great, because I'll tell you, my concern was I had 7.5 hours' notice of the meeting Tuesday night. And the notice that I received, all it says was we're going to get oil field exploration and production waste coming here. And that could be anything. As Mr. Keith said, in the oil field, flowing oil, crude oil, creates a radiation, or create gamma in the pipes, okay? As I know, water cannot be radioactive. The particles in the water can be, but not the water itself. So as you tell me, when you're injecting is salt water, that assuages that fear that I had. I'd like to also know exactly what cannot be run down that well, what chemicals, what harmful chemicals cannot be. And then the parts per million of those, such as your toluenes and your benzenes that are going in. That being said, Grand Isle welcomes any industry we have or any oil field work that we could get to Grand Isle, but we have to be transparent where we're not going to have to worry about waking up one morning, our flooded yard is also now flooded with a glowing green material.
Look, we totally get it. I don't begrudge anyone to be here and not standing up for their people, their community, the beach. And you know, I can sit here and tote and say all that, but we truly do come here for vacations and go fishing all the time. So, yes, we are a company, but we have high standards, and we do make sure that we perform at the best. So as far as the guidelines, I'm gonna get that to you, to show you, because that's state regulated, and I'll get that to you.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Lyons and Mr. Carroll.
Okay, in that application right there are several sections, but there is one section that specifically identifies the types of E&P waste that will be put down the well. It's very clearly in there. And the section Z, I believe, that I pointed out to you, that goes into detail about the chemicals in the waste and the procedures that they go through to make sure that that's disposed of properly, put down the well with the water, which comes with the water. All that's well explained. And again, we were talking earlier about this. I have to take partial, in fact, probably 99% of the fault of not getting the notice into the Gazette. But I'm so glad that we get an opportunity to do this tonight. And if anybody has any questions, specifically about the technical aspects, Doyle and I will be here, and all of us will be here afterwards to answer any questions.
Anybody in the public like to speak?
I
Mr.
do
Reed?
have one additional.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
Ryan Retief.
Okay. All right.
How y'all doing? Ryan Retief, I'm the owner of 8Port on the island, as well as Grand Isle Marina over here. And just want to kind of say I support, Eric and I talked quite a bit yesterday. And our businesses, we're kind of in favor of this, and we support this. When you talk about the employees, et cetera, we actually operate in 8Port for them, on those wells, et cetera. So there are people that are here on the island that are doing these wells, et cetera, for it. Also, we're trying to continue to bring more business. Obviously, when Cox went bankrupt, kind of left the island a little bit of a mess over there on the commercial side. We've been trying to clean it up, bring more people. If you know where these wells are, they're between that flag, pretty much the flare stack, and kind of the Crescent's big tanks. So the property that we own actually surrounds all these wells. So yeah, while we understand, the concern is leaking, et cetera, there's a bunch of different regulatory agencies continually monitored, from, like Eric spoke earlier, that do this, that it's well maintained, that it's safe, We actually want, instead of, killing these 3, we actually want to put 100 more, so that we can continue to get more business, so it means more employees, more people, more work, more taxes, It's a safe process, for it. It's nothing, from our end to kind of be concerned of, The bigger concern from the marina side and the fishing standpoint is now we just lost a big bid to Fouchon. Grand Isle's continuing to get outbid into the Fouchon side. And it's really to pull up all these rigs, et cetera, on the fishing side. I mean, they got thousands of rigs to be pulled up in the next 5 years, you know, and that's really, for us on the marine aspect, that's really our more concern. But we're watching it from, you know, the commercial side as well as, you know, the fishing, et cetera, and the tourism and everything that goes into Grand Isle. So I just want to come on public record, you know, and say, hey, look, we support, you know, we support this and the opportunities and stuff here, you know, so.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Retief. I know I've dealt with you on a few occasions in the past, and I've known you to be an excellent corporate citizen to Grand Isle. And you've shown your commitment to helping Grand Isle grow. And that's my concern right now, is that we get our numbers up, where this is a place where there's jobs and there's people, housing for them, a place where people will want to live and come and move back down here. I know one of the things you're working on is housing for people.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I just told Shelley, you know, we lost a big job of 80 employees here for the next 10 years, you know, into Fouchon, you know, for Exxon, that they got to go pull up all these rigs as well, you know, and so our thing is to try and continue to figure out ways to bring people onto the island for, you know, to buy more groceries, to fish more, to buy more bait, to buy more fuel, you know, and so if we run barges and traffic and tugboats and crew boats, you know, it's more for the entire island. You know, obviously tourism seasons, you know, between Memorial Day and Labor Day, you know,
Right.
but we got to survive the other 9 months of the year. And so we're continuing to figure out ways, you know, we put another company to operate that gas plant, you know, to come in. And so there's some different ideas, you know, with that property to do. And so just continue, you know, the oil and gas is a survival business right now. It's not, you know, $50 a barrel. It's not exactly booming. It's on its way out, except for deep water. So obviously I've been working with y'all to try and get some more deep water options in here versus just Fouchon, because
Yes.
they kind of sit in the middle of, you know, the Gulf of America. So, but like I said, I think, you know, you can see Eric being here, the people that are representing Crescent, you know, it wasn't exactly the best, you know, beforehand, but you can see that they're committed to the process. We're committed to the process as well, you know, by being here tonight, you know, and answering any questions.
Yeah. I would just ask of Crescent Midstream, if you could commit somehow to being available to answer any questions, or hold a workshop or something for any citizens who have concerns about this, so that everyone can find out exactly what we're dealing with, and how, as I'm hoping after I finish reading this, we'll find out not subjecting us to future harm. That's the thing. If we get together, and perhaps you can put something like that on.
Yes, sir. We
Because-
wouldn't have an issue with that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ryan.
Mr. Ray, come on up.
How is the water going to be transported to the well? Is it strictly by pipeline, or does it also include trucks?
Yeah, so there are different options. Currently, we are transporting it via pipeline next door and through our offshore pipeline as well. There are potentials as far as barging it in and potentially trucking it in. Currently, our better option that we're looking at is barging. Obviously, you're not on the roads. You can truck higher volumes, 10,000 barrel barges versus trucks that are pulling probably 130 barrels. I'm not saying that the option for trucks are completely out, but we don't expect it to be a high volume.
It could be truck, it could be barge, it could be pipeline.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else in the audience? Anyone else?
That's it.
Okay, Chip, you wanted to say a few words?
I had to make a choice one time in my life between law school and mud school. So I do know a little bit about this, and on my way down here tonight, I was worried that this was going to be a Class 1 injection well and not a Class 2, and I'm familiar with all of the products that are used offshore and drilling, and you know, lignite is one, and there were several others, and I sold them, and I feel a lot more comfortable now than I did on the way down here. This also keeps this site that's already there on the radar at a higher level for us. So I think that everyone has expressed themselves very well tonight, and it's already there, and I think it'll be maintained better if we move forward with this. Well, you really, this isn't anything that would take any kind of emotion. It's a highly regulated area that the state has its own department for.
Bottom line, we don't have a say into it. The decision is not made by the council or the town.
That's right.
There's a commission for that, and they'll decide. What is good is if the town, if we can discuss it like we are tonight, and be united and as one group moving forward.
And it would have been so much easier, you know, with the first meeting we had. It was unbelievable. 4 or 5 of us here, and you know, just not by putting it in the paper, and you know, like, I guess if you had something, do you have something like that at Fouchon? Do you have any wells over there at the Fouchon? No, you don't. Yeah. And like Ryan was saying, and just like all of us here, you know, we need jobs. We need more jobs here. We need more housing. We're working constantly on that. And like I said, we got to bring some people back. The school's right next door, and you know, create some jobs. And you know, coming here into the island and you know, watching, monitoring the wells and working with all the oil fields all these many years, you know, it just really, really upset our whole residents over here, and even the people that come to the island. So, like I said, we're going to continue looking at it, and like I said, you know, wishes of the board, you know, we just can, you know, just, what's the deadline to keep on?
Right now, it's 4:30 p.m., February 3rd. But that's the only way, right now, the only option we have is any concerns, comments, or questions have to be written, either in letter form or an email. And I'll need to get that email address and the address to send it to and publish that. We'll need to advertise that somehow. Also like to, I propose that we, as the town, host some of these events where we can make sure that anyone's questions are answered. Make sure that they feel comfortable with something that's been going on now for at least 35 years. They've been doing it. But if anyone has a concern or don't feel safe, then we have to acknowledge it and recognize it as a community, as a town. You know, so if we can, just tonight, the only time the 5 council members can get together and discuss something of this are at open meetings.
Exactly.
And that's the law.
That's the law.
So it's a perfect opportunity if we could just have every council member express their feelings, their concerns right now, what questions they want answered, how we go about moving forward so we can be united as a town.
I asked my questions already.
Yep.
You answered what I had. I feel they explained very well compared to that meeting the other night.
Oh.
They answered, you know, all the questions, told us the procedures. I mean, a lot better than that meeting was the other night. Sure.
I second that.
That was scary.
It was scary.
Yeah.
You know, I just can't believe that we had it open to the public and it did get tested, you know, y'all didn't put it in the newspapers and all that. So we get blamed for all that. And we came over here when it came to ours, and we just, you know, walked into the meeting and all that. And we all here talking to a few people that we had here. And your guys were up here talking to me, represented the state. In the meantime, when I'm walking out, there's the book right there, and you was outside, and he was outside, and I'm telling them guys, man, you know, this ain't gonna work. You know, we had people asking questions like, y'all did a fine job tonight. We didn't have that at the time. So you're thinking in the back of your mind, here we go. We went through all spills, you know, with BP. It was horrible. We had to go many a times and see, just when they came out like pancakes through the past. I was there when the BP guy wanted his life back together. While I was on a boat in the parish with the governor and riding and seeing it looked like jelly balls just coming in, jellyfish coming in. And you think about all the habitat, you think about all the shrimp and crabs. And that's what we explained when they came the other night. And they said, sir, we can't answer you. I've never seen something like that before. So if we got to get to the higher ups, we're gonna have to change this. I mean, you guys know what you're doing. In the meantime, we over here worried to death. We got the best oysters in the world right now. It's, the jewels right there in the backyard. When I got the deal, I sent a copy to them at 10:30, and then they made a copy. Bonnie and I all got together. We got together and made sure wanted to see where it was at. And I showed the council. I showed them that night that somewhere's on the island, these wells. We thinking that it's from somewhere's maybe from the island going toward Lafitte in one of them wells. And we couldn't answer it. And when I walked out, they said, that's the book. And I said, where's the wells? He said, they're right there. So I went downstairs, and he was there, the councilman, and Babu was there. And I said, all the while they can't answer us, they had the whole book right in that area. And then they sent it to the library. I mean, that's not the way. So if you guys own a company like that, you got to get together with the state and the federal government and say, hey, this ain't right, the little communities over the big communities. Because we make a living. These people make a living in the waters. We're fishermen,
I just want to be clear, though, we don't have any control over that process, right?
Yeah. No, but I mean, in your workshops, I'm just saying, in your workshops, I think that's what we need to do as company people, and get with the federal government and get with the state, because these guys, they just listened and just walked away, and we was just confused. Thank God, we have a big meeting, which we all wanted together, and constantly working with the emails, and we getting at the office, and the girls, we try to answer in the council. Do you hear something yet? Do you hear something? So that's something that's got to be changed some kind of way.
Well, I'll say on my side, we've done a lot of permits, but I've never had to specifically go to a public hearing for a permit, so this was a first. For us, whenever you're on our side and you know it,
Yeah.
didn't look at it from the other side, it was just a classification change, wells existed. I wasn't considering the community.
No, I understand. I understand.
And I apologize that.
No, I understand that,
And that's where it quickly, people kind of didn't and misinterpreted and it got out of hand, and I can see that now. So I take blame for that, I do.
And I understand that, we just worried, we don't need another disaster right here.
I understand.
And look, we all feel, y'all know what y'all doing, we're trying to get answers and questions to get to our constituents, so, I just kind of worried about all that, because, you guys did a good job, and I just feel we concerned. We all here got small families and big families and make a living here, so, we need everything we can, we need all the help we can, we need to create more jobs here, we work in different areas, and, like you said, you got to make it 3 or 4 months out of the year, 5 months out of the year, and you got to suffer the rest, so, again, I want to compliment the board and the people, the public, and the people that came tonight, and you get on Facebook, you get on all the, phones and stuff like that, but that's why we want to make sure that we hear the truth, what y'all telling us, and like I said, we're going to be concerned, we're going to keep on for information. I'd like to, I'd like for y'all to get together and kind of get with the state again, because them guys coming here and they couldn't answer nothing. I have never seen that. We have never seen something like that, especially something crucial like that. That's got to be changed. You guys in Hallville, something's got to be changed if you're dealing with the state and federal government. I don't mean to be ugly, meaning that I'm not blaming y'all, but to send them to come and question us how we feel about these 3 wells. We're like blind in the bat. We was just blind at the time. And, that's something that we're aware of. We want to continue looking at that. And like I said, we had questions at that time, and it's kind of weird. Never been seen that before. But if we wouldn't have grabbed that book, we wouldn't have known where it was at. We looked at our own. If you look at the website, we looked at our own little website, and they said, "Oh my God, it's on Grand Isle," and we think it is somewhere falling down, But again, yes, sir.
I just want to say, I worked for conservation for 23 years, and there was a philosophy there during that time that when a public hearing is conducted, it's for the public to make comments, and not for whoever's conducting the hearing to answer a bunch of questions. That is wrong. I agree with you with that. more information needs to be out there.
Yeah.
Before the hearing, so that
Exactly.
there's a better, understanding of it.
Yeah.
I think the gentleman that conducted the hearing the other night, that was the second hearing he's ever conducted. I think he was probably a little nervous. I was supposed to be at that meeting, but I couldn't make it. And, it just went down the wrong way, and I'm gonna do what I can to speak with those people that put on the hearing to see if they can make some changes.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And yes, sir, come on up.
Some good salesmen. I'm not trying to down them. I'm just saying, they claim that this is salt water. They pump it offshore at the rigs. You heard them say it. Why can't they just pump it in the bay? It's just salt water. I'd like to know how many negative letters they need to get to kill this from the public. If we got 2,700 camps, do we need a letter from everyone? Or do we have 700 residents? Do we need 700 letters? Because everybody, the only ones that are talking good about it are people that don't live here or don't have a camp here.
Exactly.
And they work in the oil field. I worked in the oil field. I know how they work. You're a number. I'm going to tell you, you're a number. And when your number's gone, you're gone. And it's still working. So I'd like to know how many letters it's going to take for them to say, well, we're not going to do it in Grand Isle.
That's a good question. Okay. Anybody else?
Do you know the answer to that, Chip? Do you know the answer to that?
The answer is, that question really should be directed to the state and not to us. That's why they have these public hearings, so they get input from the citizens, and that's, I put the letter away, but I didn't recognize either of the gentlemen on there, but the Department of Conservation and Energy, that's the responsible party. That's who can be influenced in either direction.
Okay. Anybody else? Motion adjourned? Motion. Well, Brian, second. Well, Mike, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So
Mayor,
Thank you.
Mayor, Jefferson Parish is opening up their
Oh,
shelters.
I'm sorry, yes, we just got an alert.
Yeah,
I'm
Jefferson
sorry.
Parish has opened up the shelters on their end, and they're going to open up for Sunday on the 25th for 12 p.m., and they're closing their shelters for the freeze 9 a.m. on the 27th. I think we should do the same in case we run, out of lights, nobody has heat. I think we open up the center,
Absolutely.
bring their own blankets, pillows, their own food,
Okay, so you all
and
got that?
that way we can monitor
sure.
them.
You all got that? Jan, you got that? Okay. So again, we're gonna open the multiplex center. No?
Yeah.
We're gonna open the multiplex center for the cold weather, okay? All right. Thank y'all so much.